This episode is brought to you by Vital Farms. Isn't it bullshit to have to question where your food comes from? At Vital Farms, you can trace your pasture-raised eggs all the way back to the source, the pasture. On the side of each pasture-raised carton of eggs, you'll find the name of the farm where your eggs were laid. And when you look the farm up on their website, you'll get a peek at all the sunshine, fresh air, and open space the hens enjoy. Learn more and find out where to buy them at vitalfarms.com. Vital Farms, keeping it bullshit free.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. That's the sound of switching your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling. Harness the best converting checkout and same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Stop leaving sales on the table. Discover why millions trust Shopify to build, grow, and run their business. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech23.
This episode is brought to you by Kia's first 3-row all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with a 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute and available reclining lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
Brooks Running has a new shoe for you runners out there. Did you hear that? Better turn up your volume. In fact, turn it up to the max. Introducing the all-new Ghost Max. It's got all kinds of things to make your knees and ankles feel protected. Like Max Cushion, Max Soft Landings with DNA Loft V2 foam, and Max Smooth Rides with their Glide Roll Rocker. Feel better on your run with Ghost Max. Learn more at brooksrunning.com.
Reboot your credit card with Apple Card, the credit card created by Apple. It gives you unlimited daily cash back that you can now choose to grow in a high-yield savings account that's built right into the Wallet app. Apply for Apple Card now in the Wallet app on iPhone and start growing your daily cash with savings today. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility requirements. Savings accounts provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA. Member FDIC. Terms apply.
Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development, where we share original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. We hope you join us often for practitioner-oriented content around all things related to leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with Human Capital Innovations Podcast. You enjoy the Human Capital Innovations Podcast? Enjoy ad-free listening by going to the Patreon page, and please consider contributing even at the producer or sponsorship level. And please leave a review. Thank you for your support. Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. In this HCI podcast episode, I talked with Guy Atzmon about ways HR teams can utilize video platforms to level up amongst stakeholders. Guy Atzmon, welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Where are you joining me from?
I'm in sunny Tel Aviv right now.
Wonderful. And I imagine it's quite late in the day for you. I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah, so it's morning for me. It's a pleasure to be with you. It's a pleasure to have a chance to chat and to tap into your expertise around video platforms. We're going to be talking specifically about ways HR teams can utilize video platforms to level up amongst stakeholders. As we get started, I wanted to share Guy's bio with everybody. Guy Atzmon joined Sunday Sky to form and lead the in-house creative department. Today, he oversees personalized video solutions for global brands, implementing them into their vertical offerings and platform strategy. Guy started his career as a freelance print, web, and video graphic designer for the fashion, nightlife, and film industries in New York. And in 2003, Guy joined Rhino FX, a top visual effects and design studio. His work at Rhino FX gained him the prestigious First Boards Award for up-and-coming talent in the motion graphics field. His work was also featured in online and print publications such as Shots, Boards, MotionGrapher.com, and many more. In 2007, Guy joined the creative department at BBDO Israel, one of the top advertising agencies in the world. Really a tremendous background, Guy. Anything else you would like to add by way of your background or personal context before we dive on into the conversation?
Yeah, I've always been very attracted to both art and design on one hand, and then computers and computer science, or the world of technology on the other hand. And the beginning of my career, it was kind of which one do I choose? And then as my career developed, I find a home to cater to both my passions at Sunday Sky. So I've been doing that for the last 13 years.
It's time to say goodbye to hold music and say hello to fast customer support with Service Cloud. With trusted AI and data working together, you can skip long wait times and deliver efficient, personalized service right away, all while keeping support costs low and more customers happy. Reimagine your customer support with the #1 AI CRM for service. Learn what's possible at salesforce.com/products/service.
This episode is brought to you by Klaviyo, the platform that powers smarter digital relationships. With Klaviyo, you can activate all your customer data in real time, connect seamlessly with your customers across all channels, guide your marketing strategy with AI-powered insights, recommendations, and automated assistance. Deliver experiences that feel individually designed at scale and grow your business faster. Power smarter digital relationships with Klaviyo. Learn more at klaviyo.com/Spotify. That's KLAVIYO.com/Spotify.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit more about Sunday Sky, what your role is there, what Sunday Sky is, what types of products, services Sunday Sky is putting out, and then we can get more into zoom out a little bit and talk more about video platforms generally and how HR teams can utilize them.
Sure. So Sunday Sky is a video platform that helps any user really to create, optimize, distribute, and most importantly, personalize videos through our platform, through self-serve tools. Basically, if you can use PowerPoint, you can use the Sunday Sky video platform to create very compelling videos. And again, with an added bonus of personalization within the video itself. So you can segment videos, you can tailor videos to the end user, integrate data into them. Very powerful and compelling tool. As far as my role, I joined originally to form the creative team 13 years ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth. As the company grew, I grew with it. I've been kind of between New York and Tel Aviv my whole life. So at a certain point, I moved to our New York office, spent 8 years there, and then came back to Tel Aviv a couple years ago. Today, I am Chief Product Officer at Sunday Sky and General Manager of our Tel Aviv office.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And again, doing some really great creative stuff and the merger of technology and art, I think, is always a fascinating topic to explore. And as you mentioned, self-service video platforms allowing for, easy to use. You don't need a lot of editing skills or technical skills to be able to use it. I think that's excellent. So let's talk about how this can be used in teams, and we can talk about teams generally, but HR teams more specifically. In what ways have you seen organizations trying to utilize the platform, your platform or other video platforms, to try to build and support their teams and really connect with stakeholders?
Yep. So I'd say, first of all, historically, maybe Sunday Sky originally focused or traditionally focused on marketers and service providers within organizations, within really Fortune 200 companies. And they use the technology to speak in more of a B2C way, right? So companies, service providers, a lot of banks, telco companies, wireless companies, retailers, really use the technology to communicate with their end users, to acquire new customers, to onboard customers, to retain customers through loyalty programs, et cetera. I would say a couple things happened in the last 2-3 years that gave us a new focus or an additional focus within HR organizations. One of those things was a little thing called COVID that I think I'm sure you've heard of. But COVID really changed the needs of a lot of HR organizations with the move to remote or hybrid work environments and the challenge in maintaining a culture from a remote situation. So that's one factor. And then the second factor is our own move to the self-serve platform. Historically, we've been very much tech-enabled services. So my team, the creative team, built all the projects for our customers, again, Fortune 200 customers. But in the last 3 years, we've been pushing very hard and launched our own self-serve platform where anyone can use that platform. So now the level of entry as far as pricing and expertise and time investment has changed. And we've seen that as a catalyst to introduce this to other areas in the organization, like HR, for instance. So HR that might have less budget than marketing traditionally or other parts of the organization can now also enjoy this great platform and the technology and using personalization within video for their own needs. So those two things combined really pushed us into adding an additional area here with serving HR organizations.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit more about the personalization components? Like, in what ways are people personalizing these? In what ways are HR teams utilizing this and personalizing it?
So the technology itself has the ability to take a data feed and really anything that you have as a data feed, inject it into video templates that the user creates that are really branded and on point as far as the look and feel and kind of how they portray the brand. So any data that you have can be injected in the videos and really help tell a more compelling story. Everything from the viewer's first name, if you have that as data, their position, if we're talking about HR, their account status, or loyalty program in the case of airlines, for instance, how many miles you have, anything that can be reflected in data and passed on can be incorporated within the videos and really help tell a more compelling and a more personalized story. So as we started thinking about, okay, how can we help serve HR? And we're, so to say, eating our own dog food in this sense. We started thinking about use cases for our internal usage as we move to a distributed remote organization. Today, we're totally remote in our US office, and we're in hybrid mode in our Tel Aviv office. We started to come across challenges that we felt other organizations have as well, right? So one, the great resignation and the competitive hiring market made it much harder to hire talented people and to get that exposure. You can do that with video in a much more compelling way. Onboarding new employees and new team members, also very hard in a remote environment. And how do you instill the culture with new employees and new team members? How do you educate them and everything you want to do in onboarding? So we started doing that with our own new employees. How do you celebrate the wins, product releases, news, internal news of the company? Kind of how do you retain the employees in the workforce, and how do you keep them engaged and keep them informed? All of those things can be done through video and through our video platform.
Yeah, and like you said several times, video is just more engaging and more compelling than, certainly more so than a static like policy manual or an onboarding manual that someone might get when they join an organization. And if you have a remote team and you're trying to embed culture and shared values and everything with your remote distributed team members, and all you really have is like a PDF of the policy manual to send them and maybe an onboarding checklist and a few things like that, and then you have like a video chat with them, that's pretty pretty low bar. I mean, that doesn't really accomplish a whole lot, but you start to create these types of personalized videos, and whether instead of just emails, instead of just documents, instead of just, you know, the more static types of things, now they're more, you hold their attention, they're more engaged, they're going to retain more, so you're actually getting more from the time that they're putting in to, say, the onboarding or the training or whatever you're having them do. So that's super powerful. And we know, you know, in the world of marketing, for example, you know, in social media marketing, I'm not a social media marketing expert, but I know enough to know that video catches people's attention more than a static visual, a static picture. And so, you know, we just apply those same kind of principles to the user experience within our organizations, with our people, the employee experience, and it becomes a no-brainer. And I can't help but think of, you know, the rise of certain platforms like TikTok over the last couple of years. What is it about TikTok that's just so darn compelling, and that just grabs people's attention and doesn't let go of it? And people end up scrolling. You know, we can have a conversation about, you know, the health the mental health impacts of constant scrolling, but one thing they've definitely figured out, how to hold people's attention. And so I'm not saying we need to like try to be like TikTok, but like taking some principles of like engagement and those sorts of things and applying it into how we interact with our people, it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And really it's a 1-2 punch here, right? So the first layer is the use of video on its own is already more compelling than a PDF or a welcome email or even a welcome packet, what have you, all the traditional ways. Video has become an expectation, right? But then the personalization aspect of it really helps it make it just that much more compelling. And personalization, I like to speak about both overt and subtle personalization. Overt personalization being, you know, welcoming the viewer by their name, saying, hey, this is going to be your onboarding buddy. This is Rachel from finance, and she's going to help you in your first steps. And, you know, this is your position, and here are a couple of your team members. So the overt parts of really taking that personalized data and personalized information and putting it in the video is great. But then also, and, you know, as important is also the relevance of the messaging. So we have the ability for each one of these videos to tell a little bit of a different story and include and exclude scenes or messages based on different parameters. So for instance, an onboarding process for someone in IT won't look like an onboarding process for someone in finance. It's not, they don't go through the same steps, right? So they shouldn't get the same video. You want to give them different messages. You want to tell them, hey, there might be processes that are more relevant to a new HR recruit versus a new finance recruit. There might be whole topics that are not relevant to a different group of people. So that's more what I refer to subtle personalization, where just the choice of the topics and the messages that are included are also a big part of the story. So you end up with videos, no two videos are the same, not even in length. My video might be 1.5 minutes, my onboarding video to Sunday Sky, and, you know, someone from finance might be 2.5 minutes. It all depends on the relevance and certain rules that you set to say, okay, this viewer would get these scenes, a different viewer would get other scenes, etc. So both subtle and overt personalization are really key and compelling, and help completion rates of the video as well. You want to keep the viewers interested and not burden them with unnecessary information or irrelevant information.
Right. And I was just going to key in on that, the irrelevant information. How many of us have sat through onboardings or trainings, courses, whatever, where, you know, there's good stuff there, and some of it's relevant, some of it's interesting, some of it, you know, we can see immediately how it can apply to our jobs and how we can do better, and it will make our lives better and everything like that. But then on the other hand, like, so much of it is completely irrelevant. And I was actually just in like a day-long kind of cohort-based training session yesterday, and I was just thinking about this. I'm like, it's nice to be back face-to-face. That was great, but it wasn't personalized in any way. And we were all over the map. The participants were all over the place in terms of their backgrounds, their experiences. And I have to admit, I tried to keep an open mind, but 80+% of what we did yesterday is stuff that I just didn't need. I just didn't need to be there for it. And so it's hard. I want to participate. I want to engage. I want to, be a good team player and all those things. But you hit a certain threshold where like things just seem completely irrelevant or unnecessary, and you just start to tune out. And it's hard to battle that. And so the more we can just tailor things and just make sure that someone's only seeing what they actually need to see, then that's better for everyone. It wastes less time of your people, so they can spend more time being productive. It keeps their interest because it's relevant. And you're not muddying the waters by telling them information that they might think they need to try to keep track of, but actually doesn't really apply to them. I mean, there's just so many reasons why a more tailored approach is just better. Yet, traditionally in organizations, that's been more costly. The more personalized you make it, the more expensive it is. And that's why yesterday, in my experience, it wasn't personalized at all, because you had all these people from all over the place. It was face to face. You had a facilitator. I mean, what are they going to do to personalize that, right? And so that's one of the great benefits of using online platforms and video platforms and using technology to assist in kind of the choose your own adventure. Only they're not choosing themselves, but the software is guiding them the direction they need to go. That's going to be most effective for them. That's powerful, and that's going to save time. It's going to engage people better, and it's just going to be a win for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd like to maybe refer to a couple of the points you made. First, from an experience perspective, I think there's a generational component here that's coming into play, as well as just a general expectation for us as humans and what we interact with, right? Of course, our jobs are very important to us, but we also, at the end of the day, we kick back in front of Netflix, or, we do our shopping on Amazon. We get our podcasts from Apple or your favorite platform. All of those companies are providing a level of a personalized experience, right? When I log into Netflix, I don't see my home screen is different than yours, right? And again, both subtle and overt ways. Like, I have my list, but also, I don't know if you know this, the thumbnails of visuals on Netflix are different for different people, right? So they A/B test and they optimize like what is going to be the most compelling poster image for Ozark. That might be different for me than for you. So there's a certain level of expectation from our personal life that we're importing into our work life. There's also a generational thing going on where attention spans, of course, are, without again sounding like a boomer here, the expectation or the attention span with some of the younger generations going into the workforce. They just grew up in a different way than us Gen Xers, or at least I'm a Gen Xer, grew up, and we have to accommodate for that to keep our people engaged, etc. So we need to rise to those expectations of how they're interacting with information outside of work, and bring some of that into the workplace as well to keep people engaged, etc. So yeah, that's kind of one thing around attention spans, etc. And then you made another point that I wanted to refer to, but right now.
Maybe it'll come back to you. But yeah, I think, again, we're not saying that it's never helpful or appropriate to do face-to-face. There's a lot of power in getting together in person, and that's why organizations, many are coming back to the office or doing hybrid arrangements. But the new world of work requires us to have some more flexibility, and more teams are more distributed. They're going to continue to be more distributed. And we're going to have to really figure out how to do this virtual world better. And while there's some downsides to not being together in person, there can be some real benefits as we design personalized systems to meet the needs of our people. And so that's what you're doing. I know other organizations that are doing the same thing, and it's just so important. And I think it's going to help every organization.
Yeah, that was actually the second point around, the effects of COVID and distributed work, and non-physical environments. Uh, um, you know, we were. I know I was worried in the beginning, especially as a manager, like the inability to kind of feel my team and really experience and brainstorm and do some of the more kind of interactive activities live. That was very concerning going into the pandemic. And I think we've found our ways to deal with that. We've also always been a little bit of a distributed organization because we have both the Tel Aviv and the New York office. But then there are certain advantages that came up in the last couple of years where we see people consuming information in asynchronous ways and working in hours that are more comfortable for them, and choosing how to consume information and how to consume updates, et cetera, different formats, be it Slack, be it email, be it, systems like Confluence, et cetera. So that flexibility actually, gave us more productivity in certain areas, and again is pushing towards tools like our tool as well, that really helps make video more accessible, and it's no longer in the hands of just the creative team or highly trained professionals to create video. Now, with tools like our own and other tools out there, people can create video much more quickly, much more independently, keep the kind of production value that you would have from professional video, but at the same time do it independently and really move faster and more independently, both as individuals and as teams. So yeah, it's exciting times. There's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Guy, this has just been a really fun conversation. I've really appreciated my time with you today. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to give you a chance to share with listeners how they can connect with you, find out more about your team, and give us a final word on the topic for today.
Yeah, sure. So sundaysky.com is, of course, our website. You can learn more about the technology there. You can ask for demos. We're very happy to share our platform and hear what they think about it, etc. So please visit sundaysky.com. For me personally, I'm Gatzmon8 at Twitter. I'm Guy Atzmon on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere else, LinkedIn. That's where you can find me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I encourage listeners to reach out, get connected, find out more about what Guy and his team can do for you. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week. Do you enjoy the Human Capital Innovations podcast? Enjoy ad-free listening by going to the Patreon page. And please consider contributing even at the producer or sponsorship level. And please leave a review. Thank you for your support. Thanks again for joining us for this episode of the Human Capital Innovations podcast. I hope you stay healthy and safe and that you have a great week.